Hello, Valerie Shodin here in my studio. And I don't know about you, but I am so ready for this year to be done that I'm going to start setting up my new yearly Word of the Year bullet style journal early. And in order to do that, because I've done bullet style journals that are modified for 10 years now and that relate to a Word of the Year theme, I thought I would go over what to consider when planning a journal, and as you look back over the past year, some things to ask to help to plan the following year's journal and to live out a Word of the Year. So because I focus on a Word of the Year, that's often one of the first things or the first thing that I have in my mind when I'm setting up a journal. Each year as I look through my journal over the past year or past years, I ask what worked and what didn't. So as I look through the journal, there's certain things that I've noticed that I've repeated year after year that I will likely include nearly all or all of the time. One would be a year at a glance. And I always include this because it really helps me set up my calendar pages and to just refer to a year at a glance without having to look at my phone. Now, once in a while, there's something that works some years and not others, or doesn't work. So I have an example of that here, which I really like this page, but you can see I didn't end up using it. And this is a month at a glance, or what a lot of people in the bullet journaling world call future log. So I did start it on this page, and I did it for a few months, and then I didn't do it. So I haven't included this in the past few years. But now I'm wondering, would I use something like this for the upcoming year? So those are questions that I ask myself as I look through the structure of the journal that I've just done. What themed pages worked for me and what didn't? Ones that are left blank, obviously I didn't use. And is there anything I'd like to add that would really help me function better as I engage with my journal throughout the year? What types of calendar pages or what calendar page works for you? I have a certain one that works for me, but I know it's not for everyone. And there's different styles and different things we need for different seasons in our lives. So for me, a monthly calendar that's big enough, like a 6x6 dots, wide and tall, is a size that I can write down the things that I need to do for that day. And then I can write on another page if I have something for that week and it's a special week, then I'll mark that down. But usually, to be honest, I use my phone for my planning, so I don't do a lot of planning in my journal. There's the visual aspect of the journal, which I really like. I like to pick a style or theme for my journal and stick to it through the whole year. And of course, I'm flexible and loose with that. Like this year, I picked the Celtic theme, and I'm so excited that I did because it really helped me through this year bring joy. In fact, I got to design some stencils for Stencil Girl products and use the lettering stencils and the Celtic knot stencils in my journal. And then one thing I like to do is give myself a kind of art skill challenge for the year. I got a set of gelatos, and every calendar month that I did, I used gelatos in that. Another media that I tried and will continue to use is washi tape. I had collected some washi tape and it wasn't getting a lot of use. So I decided I was going to use it in my bullet journal, and I've been using it ever since. This year, I've done the Celtic theme, as I said. And so each month, I drew a different Celtic knot on my calendar page as my art challenge for myself. I try to make it easy enough so that I don't get discouraged and it doesn't take a ton of time. So for me, it was a fun exercise, and doing my new calendar each month was like a new start each month. It's fun, and you can see the results right there in the calendar page. Now, as far as the emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of the journal, it's good to think, what are my takeaways? What did I learn this year? Did keeping this journal help me live out a Word of the Year and help me be a better person? Did they help me draw close to the Lord and what did they do for my relationships? What did keeping a journal do for my relationships this year? I find that I really need to keep a journal. Mine is almost a diary type journal with a bullet journal style. So it's this hybrid thing that works for me, which is one of the biggest benefits, I think, of starting in a somewhat plain journal is you can include anything you want, make it totally yours, and there's not a bunch of blank pages when I didn't write for days on end. Once I've answered these questions, I make a list of all the pages I would like to use in my journal as far as headings and themes and places for me to fill in. Then I write them on individual Post-it notes. Here is my journal, and I have to admit I did start it, so I put some Post-it notes, and I, as I said, put my Post-it notes titles for the pages on individual ones. So I'm just placing them in here, and I can switch them around, and I've done it quite a bit. Here's the table of contents that does come with this particular journal. If it didn't have one, I would make one. And then I had my word of the year here, but I decided I'll just put the themes there because I'm putting my definition of the word of the year, which I'll show in a later video, on this side, and my year at a glance on this side. And that's because I look at my year at a glance a lot, and I thought it'd be good to refer to the meaning of my word year round. Okay, so as I go on here, then I usually have an expanded or an insight on my word, and I include that because my word is so important to me. And then I'm including something. I added this Post-it note because I thought I want a review of 2020. 2020 is just such a year that it affects everything, I think, from here out. So I've never done that before, but I'm actually giving 4 pages to a review of 2020. And then I'll have my scripture, which I always include some scripture in mine because it's nice to just have it on hand, I think. Then I have 4 pages for that, and sometimes I have more, but I'm doing something different on a monthly basis. So then I have these pages I'm going to include. I haven't included intentions at the beginning of mine in the past, but I noticed that I always put them somewhere in the middle. So this time I'm designating that, and it may go on these 2 pages. Then doodles, I think I'm going to do a page of doodles. I've done that in the past, and it's been so inspirational, in fact, that I ended up making some stencils that are coming out with these banners. And so I'm going to use banners again as one of my visual themes for this year. Okay, so doodles, and I can switch these around, but books, I don't use more than 1 page, and movies and media, that's about my interest there. And then I do have interests that I tend to study and research. This year, I am going to put my big interest in a separate journal to allow more space. There's fewer pages in this journal because it has this thick paper, and it is likely that I will use it up and maybe need to do another journal as well. Stencils for stencil design, love that. And then one thing I haven't put in here, designated space, are blog ideas and videos to make. I'm doing more and more of that, so I'm going to include that this year. And then my family birthdays will take 2 pages up there. And I'm still deciding, do I want to do a future log with months at a glance? If I do, it will take up 4 pages. And then I thought if I do that, that would go to here. And then my January calendar would go after that. So that's my basic setup, which is bigger, more pages. This ends up on 29 than I have in the past, but I think I might be using all of this. And what I do is I leave this for a while and I play around. I might switch things around, and then I start. So that'll be in another video. I'll show how I start that. Anyway, thought I'd give you an idea here. If this helps you, it's a low risk with the Post-it notes, and I hope that helps if you'd like to start your own journal. All right, see you next time. Blessings to you as you create.